are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by cops than white men.
They don't want us to succeed.
How much more do we have to take?
Just dropping some comments real quick, y'all. Excuse me, articles in the comment section if you're watching through Facebook. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the block. The Leon block, that is. I'm John Tell. Y'all already know who I am. It's, excuse me, gonna be a block drop tonight. Nothing too much into no deep kind of topics or anything. I just wanted to dive back into some things going on. So the first one I really want to get into is the harvest moon, which is going on right now, and you'll be able to see it up through Wednesday, I believe. And so the harvest moon for this year, like I said, will reach peak illumination tonight at 7:55. It's now after midnight, so September 20th at 7:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it will appear full from Sunday evening through Wednesday morning, and it'll light up the sky just hours before the autumn equinox on Wednesday, which marks the first official day of fall. And so for folk who are spiritually inclined, it's all about the balance and abundance. Whether you're celebrating the harvest moon or the corn moon, it's a time to honor and appreciate your home, and a time for reflection and gratitude. And full moons always symbolize a time of climactic conclusion, but this is felt even more deeply now as we near the changing of seasons and the cooler months ahead are imminent. And we begin to turn inward. It's a time of balance. Just as it is for the natural world around us, we feel the coming of the darkness, and we're pulled towards our spiritual side in a new way. And we always feel drawn to different music, don't we? It's such a beautiful time to realign with our spirit, soul, and self. And September's moon helps to settle us into a much slower pace and rhythm. So immerse yourself and enjoy these last few days of warmth so you can gladly enter the darkness of winter. So I talked about AOC the other day in another block drop, right? With the tax the rich dress. People ain't done with it yet. So the designer, you know, that one everybody's been attacking. So She has a history of not paying taxes or rent. I really wanted to look into this. I just thought it was kind of interesting. The designer of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's tax the rich dress has a history of not paying her taxes, a report posted on Saturday claims. Aurora James Company, y'all know I have a problem with saying Aurora, so please don't mind me if I hack it up. Racked up 3 open tax warrants in New York for failing to withhold nearly $15,000 worth of income taxes from employees' paychecks. The debts, which were incurred before the pandemic, stem from 2018 and 2019. The company has been hit with 15 warrants in total since 2015. Additionally, the IRS placed 6 federal liens on the company from April 2018 to April 2019, totaling over $100,000, and specifically citing the company's failure to remit employee payroll taxes. Interesting. All right, so I've been talking about Haiti a lot and what's going on. So there's a lot of Haitians fleeing mayhem. Essentially, that's the best way that I could describe it. And a lot of them are congregating under a certain bridge, right? Seeking asylum here in the US. And motherfuckers are sending them right the fuck back. I personally have an issue with this because it seems like the darker you are, the less tolerance they have for you being here. The Biden administration Sunday began deporting people from a makeshift camp where nearly 14,000 migrants have gathered beneath a South Texas bridge amid food shortages and deteriorating sanitary conditions. 3 flights carrying hundreds of migrants landed in Haiti on Sunday. Again, 3 flights carrying hundreds of migrants. According to a U.S. official who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to release the information. Interesting. That's very telling. And I spoke of this months ago about how the Biden administration has essentially silenced all reporters and personnel from speaking about the things that are actually going on. So we have less knowledge of what's going on in the White House now under this administration than we had under the Trump administration. They may have gave a whole bunch of bullshit and blatant lies to us, but we at least heard what was going on. We were at least able to find out what was going on. We have no way of telling now. So who knows what atrocities are committed besides the things that are getting leaked out like this, right? So the government enlisted the help of the local school system to transport people on school buses to facilities in Texas, in San Antonio, Laredo, and Eagle Pass. He said, "We are working around the clock to expeditiously move migrants out of the heat elements and from underneath this bridge to our processing facilities in order to quickly process and remove individuals from the United States consistent with our laws and our policies." Adding, "It will be done in a humane and timely manner." What the fuck? These words are not going to sugarcoat or put a band-aid over anything. You think that we're going to like not see through these words? Again, remove individuals from the United States consistent with our laws and our policies. I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I know what you're literally sending these people back to die there because you don't want them. The Biden administration is conducting the deportations under Title 42, the Trump-era public health order that President Biden has kept in place to push migrants south of the border during the COVID-19 pandemic. The goal is to reduce the number of people waiting to be processed by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection personnel and remove conditions on the ground. It is also designed to break the momentum and the determination of migrants who have been encouraged by their U.S. relatives to make the journey before the opportunity passes or their individual circumstances worsen. Do you not understand that they don't care what happens once they're trying to leave their country because conditions are so fucking bad? They would rather die than go back to their fucking country. You're wasting more money sending these people back than providing them the resources that they actually desperately need and could actually provide and help rebuild this country. Like, People are fucking idiots, but I digress. Migrants attempting or considering the journey to the border should know we are still enforcing CDC Title 42 order, and they will not be allowed to enter the U.S. They will be removed and will be sent back to their country of origin, they said. But news of the deportation flights has not stopped or worn down the resolve of some migrants. Near the encampment Saturday, Melissa Joseph ticked off the names of all the countries she and her family journeyed through on her way to the Rio Grande steep, thorny embankment near Texas. Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Panama, and Costa Rica. I think it was 9 countries. The 24-year-old told another woman in her Creole-tinged Spanish, the fruit of 3 years living in Chile. Maybe it was 10. It's fucking crazy. Deportees land in Port-au-Prince. Nobody told us we were going back to Haiti. That's another article that you can check. And I did put this article in the comment section if you're watching through Facebook. Deteriorating social and economic conditions worsened by the pandemic in the South American country became too hostile to bear for Joseph, forcing her, her husband, and 2 young children to join a persistent exodus of her compatriots to the northern half of the Americas. Racism, perpetual deportation threats, and tightening work restrictions on foreigners in Chile made the choice inevitable, but Joseph never imagined what she found at the river's edge in Mexico. And again, there's like 14,000 people in this encampment. I mean, they really don't want to stay there much longer, but a lot of people are sitting there at the border waiting so that they could have that small shimmer of hope to seek asylum to get in the U.S. From the neighborhood alleyways of the place overlooking the Rio Grande emerged a surreal sight, a highway of humanity, many of them fellow Haitians, crisscrossing the international boundary unfettered as if it were a New York City intersection during rush hour and not the heavily surveilled dividing line between the 2 global powers. No one was hiding. There was no hesitancy. Everyone carrying cases of water, bags of food, mattresses, and blankets looked like they had somewhere important to be. I never expected any of this, the bewildered Joseph said as she prepared to make her own crossing, grabbing a bag of recently bought groceries. We go with fear, but we go determined to make the sacrifices for our families. We got this far. Again, she trekked 10 countries. While it's not clear how or why thousands of specifically French, Creole, and Spanish-speaking Haitians converged simultaneously on this isolated outpost of the U.S.-Mexico border, what is clear is that many of their migration stories began long ago. Theirs is an unending tale of displacement, discrimination, and deportation that many had hoped would end in Del Rio, Texas, and lead to a permanent home. Their motivations for migrating are complicated yet similar. Their routes they traverse are dangerous and unpredictable, but they're crowding by the thousands, with many more reportedly on their way, onto a dusty piece of dirt, bereft of proper sanitary conditions, medical resources, or shelter, has provoked an overwhelmed government to threaten these immigrants with removal to homelands they hoped to never return to. George Rios, who's 28, and his cousins have been guarding their family property in Mexico since early this week when the first cascades of migrants washed over this small town. Local police asked Rios' family to open a passage to the river embankment behind their home. Migrants, press, and police are the only ones allowed through. Rios stopped a pair of Mexican teens, warning them not to trespass on his property. And he says he's never seen anything like this. Again, it's actually like 14,000 people that are converged, that have converged simultaneously on this small town. And again, the Biden administration is literally just sending them right back, like crowding them on planes and sending them right back. This really is frustrating for me to see this, especially when it comes to Haitians, and Afro-South Americans, honestly, and Central Americans. There's a woman who traveled from Venezuela. She didn't expect to see the conditions that she saw. There's so many people, and it is so loud that no one can hear the drone of what sounds like a stadium full of voices from more than a mile away. Buying things in Mexico, including soaps and wipes, is a boon to the local businesses, but it is also imperative for the migrants because there's nothing at the camp. The food handed out by federal authorities runs out quickly, and the chips and bread they hand out are not sustenance. She and other migrants are saying there's no space. It's dusty, dirty, and not at all what they hope to find. Her son is sleeping on a piece of old cardboard beneath a crude hut made of bamboo-like cane and draped with blankets over the top. She says it's the children who suffer the most, and she gave up everything she had just to be there. And these people are not going to give up that easy. I think that's one of the things that these white ass, racist ass motherfuckers that live in the boondocks that don't understand a lick of what's going on in other countries don't seem to understand. I find it very interesting. So y'all remember Marjorie Taylor Greene? Crazy ass QAnon chick. She accused Ilhan Omar of marrying her brother and supporting terrorism. Her accusations followed Omar's Friday tweet accusing Greene of hypocrisy for wearing a mask on a flight despite publicly opposing mask mandates. Omar's tweet was in response to another person's tweet accusing Greene of using taxpayer funds to fly first class on Delta Airlines. Damn autocorrect. Every time I try to type your name, it keeps correcting to brother fucker. Greene wrote in a Saturday afternoon tweet that tagged Omar. Marriage fraud is a felony. Free upgrades are nice on airlines, but marrying your brother to, first of all, she mistakenly spelled it bother instead of brother. To give him an upgrade is a felony I look forward to make sure is investigated. Wow. This bitch is crazy. Excuse my language. Omar's Friday's tweet criticizing Greene stated, quote, I love how Greene walks around railing against mask mandates, but time and time again compiles when no one is paying attention. Typical hypocrite cult leader, unquote. The tweet included an image of Greene wearing a mask while seated on a Delta airline flight. I don't understand why she picks on her so bad. Like, I think she uses Cori Bush and Ilhan Omar really to stay relevant, because without them, what does she really have? She's fucking nuts. So the next article, again, has to do with Haitians. So I guess officials didn't tell these migrants where they were going or that they were deporting them back to their home country. I'm dropping this in the comments. If you are tuning in, you can check me out on YouTube, the Leon Block channel. You can watch me on Facebook, the Leon Block Independent Media. And so I just find this article very interesting. I'm not going to read the article, but it is about, for anyone who watches Blackish, the show is ending soon, like after 8 years of being on the air. And honestly, it's a monumental show as far as TV and television goes, with Black TV and mainstream and accolades, all-star cast, watching them grow up. Come on, you can't beat that. And she talks about how emotional it is for her to have to wrap this up. And I feel her. Haiti protests mass U.S. deportation of migrants to country in crisis. The first Haitians deported from a makeshift camp in Texas landed in their home country Sunday amid sweltering heat, anger, and confusion as Haitian officials besieged the United States to stop the flights because the country is in crisis and cannot handle thousands of homeless deportees. We are here to say welcome. They can come back and stay in Haiti, but they are very agitated, said the head of Haiti's National Migration Office. They don't accept the forced return. Authorities expected that 14,000 Haitians would be expelled from the U.S. over the coming 3 weeks. Officials said they were preparing to receive 3 flights of migrants on Sunday alone in Port-au-Prince, the capital. But the next steps were far from clear. The Haitian state is not really able to receive these deportees. Many of the migrants said they saw no future for themselves and their families back in Haiti. One person says, "I'm not going to stay in Haiti." They traveled with their 3-year-old son, who was born in Chile, has a Chile passport, and their husband, they want to return to Chile, where they lived before trying to settle in the U.S. Many of the migrants have been living outside of Haiti for years in countries like Panama, Chile, Brazil. Some of them said they had been told they were going to Florida, then realized they were being taken back to Haiti. It's interesting because they at least give any other migrants from other South or Central American countries the decency of telling them what's going on or trying reuniting them with their families and all that. No, they don't even tell these people. They just send them back. Don't even tell them where they're sending them to. You see what I'm saying here? Interesting. On Sunday in Port-au-Prince, more than 300 of them milled close together around a small white tent as the sun beat down, waiting to be processed. The country where they were returned to is mired in deep political and humanitarian crisis. In July, the president was assassinated, and again, if y'all haven't seen the podcast I did about that, please check them out, because the media will say one thing, but it is very, honestly, it's not very complicated, but if you don't understand the United States of America as a corporation and the empire and the arms that it controls in every corner of the world, you won't be able to understand Haitian history or politics and how it plays a part in the trajectory of ending slavery and how we have Haiti as we know it today. So on that note, you could do your research on that. So I really don't like to get into his assassination too much, because it just creates too much of debates that I really don't feel like getting into at the moment. One of these days, I'm going to put a video up explaining all of that, though. According to a UN report released last week, 800,000 people have been affected by the quake, which devastated Haiti in August. And a month after it struck, 650,000 people still need emergency humanitarian assistance. Why doesn't anyone ever help Haiti? They come in, say they're doing shit, they don't. They actually rob the country, even worse. Puerto Rico, too. The first of the migrants to be repatriated arrived Sunday afternoon. They looked dazed and tired as they climbed out of the aircraft. I wonder if they even gave them meals. For real. First came parents with babies in their arms and toddlers by the hand. Other men and women followed with little luggage, save perhaps for a little food or some personal belongings. Amid confusion and shouting, the Haitians were led to processing at the makeshift tent, which had been set up by the International Organization for Migration. Some expressed dismay at finding themselves back in a place they had worked so hard to escape after fleeing and trekking through 9-10 countries just to get to America and be sent right back to Haiti, you know, I would be pissed too. Do we have a country? Asked one woman. They've killed the president. We don't have a country. Look at the state of this country. Haitian officials gave them little cause to think otherwise. Ongoing security issues made the prospect of resettling thousands of new arrivals hard to imagine. Haiti cannot provide adequate security or food for the returnees. And then there's the pandemic. The situation is very difficult. After the earthquake in August, which killed more than 2,000 people, the Biden administration paused its deportations to Haiti, but it changed course last week when a rush of Haitian migrants crossed into Texas from the border state of, I don't know how to say that name, and I'm not going to hack it up. Many have fled Haiti years ago. In the years after the country was devastated by the 2010 earthquake, most had headed to South America hoping to find jobs and rebuild life in countries like Chile and Brazil. Recently facing economic turmoil and discrimination in South America and hearing that it was easier to cross into the U.S. under the Biden administration, they decided to make the trek north to the U.S. border with Mexico. In recent days, thousands of Haitian migrants traversed the Rio Grande and huddled under the bridge in Del Rio, Texas, further straining the U.S.'s already overwhelmed migration system and triggering the decision to begin sending migrants back to Haiti. The deportations, however, have left Haiti's new government scrambling. I'm going to throw this in the comments, y'all. In a video posted on Reddit, a Karen, whose real name is Jessica, is seen yelling at a man, calling him illegal and assuming he can't speak English. She calls the police on him because he's recording her. "You Mexicans are going to learn your lesson," she yells at the camera. "You're a Mexican. You're illegal." The video was originally posted on TikTok. It is no longer on TikTok, but was reposted on Reddit. "He's Hispanic and I don't think he speaks English," Jessica says to the police over the phone. "I do," responds the man recording her. "Nothing brings out this woman's hate like illegally parking and then being prejudiced," says Bradley in her video. She also reveals Jessica's full name, Jessica Fuentes, and place of work. "I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't want a prejudiced nurse working with me." The Daily Dot was unable to confirm Fuentes' occupation. Commenters on Reddit did a bit of snooping on Fuentes as well. Someone found an article from the Daily Voice, a local Connecticut news outlet, that details Fuentes as her daughter physically attacking a woman in a mall. Fuentes was charged with assault, risk of injury to a minor, and breach of peace. "I hope she loses her license," someone said. "Behavior like this is unacceptable." Others condemned Fuentes for being racist, in particular towards another Latino person. "We Latinos can be so racist to each other," wrote someone else. "Plenty of people out there who think the door should have closed behind them when they arrived." All right, so I'm gonna post this article in the comments, and there's something else I want to get to. So where we at? Real quick here, for those who kind of forgot about Derek Chauvin, there's a potential for him to have his sentence shortened. And remember, I think he's only getting like, what, 20 years, and part of that's already served too. Well, this is through Black Press, as you can see, but Georgia Ford says she just finished interviewing a legal expert for a story that will air tomorrow. And they say because Noor's third-degree murder conviction was used as a legal precedent for Chauvin's third-degree charge, it's likely Chauvin will win his appeal. If that happens, Lee says Chauvin wouldn't be released as he was convicted on other charges, but it could reduce his sentencing. As for Noor, they say that now his third-degree charge was overturned for his 12-year sentence, will likely be shortened. Noor was also found guilty of second-degree manslaughter. Lee says based on time already served, Noor could be released as soon as October. So if you want more on that story, you can follow Black Press or go to blackpress.com for more. I never heard about this story, but I find it very interesting. So check this out. 20-year-old dude. It's crazy, right? I wonder if people know about this. So during Hurricane Katrina, this 20-year-old man drove a school bus through the city to rescue dozens of people from Hurricane Katrina. But when the media attention died down, police made sure he'd never be referred to as a hero again. This is through Push Black. You can follow them on Instagram. They're called We Are Push Black. Gibson's acts of kindness saved lives, but that was all forgotten because the system cannot see us for the full entirety of who we are. It was created to mark us as criminals and define us only by the mistakes we've made, and not the good that we've done. They can say he went from a hero to a zero or whatever they want, says his mother, but he saved my whole family's life and he saved everyone in the fissure, and the world should know it. Despite the lives he saved, the media laid his hero title to rest and relegated him to an inmate number, and the system discarded him like it's designed to do. Raised in the Fisher Projects, he'd been working odd jobs and dealing drugs from a young age to support his family. And after Katrina, he'd gotten arrested for doing just that. He was arrested in 05, 06, and 08, and sentenced again to 15 years for crack distribution in 2010. I don't give a fuck what the fuck he did. And as far as I'm concerned, y'all know how I feel about this. If you're dealing drugs, you can run a business. You're really an entrepreneur, but the circumstances that you're in kind of keeps you trapped in that lifestyle. So I just wanted to shed a little light on that situation because we have to celebrate the accomplishments that are made and the people that really should be heroes. And again, make sure y'all checking out the Harvest Moon. Make sure you set your intentions tonight or the next night. Do what you got to do to clear the air, clear your space, clear your home, clear your soul. If you want more info on those headlines, all of the links are in the comments on Facebook.
Leon.
Flop.